Hello, 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 and welcome to the channel. You are with Tanisha Ali, and this is Tanisha's Locks, Beauty Tips, and Potpourri. Today we're talking about price. How much did you pay for your locks? How much are you paying for them now? When did you have them installed? And how much would you be willing to pay? Please put that in the comments right now. I'm going to take a few second pause so you can write that in the comments. How much did you pay for them? When did you have them installed? What are you paying now? And what would you be willing to pay if you were looking around to get them installed? Welcome to Tanisha's Locks, Beauty Tips, and Potpourri, the channel where we get it all in. You can also learn more about the I Am Melanin Magic brand. Thank you for stopping by. I did want to take a few moments to share with you one of the many visual successes that the I Am Melanin Magic hair brand is having. The Magical Hair Growth Serum has been very successful in helping people to restore hair in areas that have long been bald or that have been very difficult to remediate. This client, as you will see as you continue to watch, has been using the product for 2 months, and in the 2-month period has experienced some major changes. So we celebrate these changes, and over the next several videos I'll be able to share with you more and more of the pictures that many of you out there on this beautiful channel, on this blessed channel, have been so gracious and kind to share with me over the last almost year and a half. Welcome to the channel. It's so wonderful to see you all. It's always wonderful to see you all. I'm giving some love to all of the family. I'm giving love to all of you wonderful, wonderful, perfect people and beautiful butterflies, whether you are on this channel or on the Butterfly Transformations channel. I just want you to know I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Please put that in the comments. Now, if you're someone that watches these videos all the time and you don't give back, there's the law of reciprocity, okay? There's giving and receiving. Receiving is just as important as giving. Giving is just as important as receiving. Do not be deluded. Give back. Show up in the comments. Give the video a thumbs up. Like the video by giving it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and definitely share the content. Take that time and put that stuff in the comments. Yo, since I got my locks 12, 13 years ago, I want to say it's 13 coming up in June, July, things have changed. Things have changed tremendously. When I had my locks installed by my loctician in the Atlanta area, I paid $450 for the first 5 inches. I paid an additional $50 for each inch, I believe. Something like this. It took 3 days. My install was 30 hours. It was split up by Ifraj Suad. You can look her up on Google. Please do not text me and ask me for her information. Look her up on Google, Ifraj Suad. Check out some of my older videos. She's in the contact. She's in the contact information. The only reason why I say don't text me is I get overflow. It gets to be too much. Remember, this is a fun something that I do. I have a few businesses that I'm responsible for, and when my phone is flooded from too much overflow, I can't get back to the responses that can be critical. So Ifraj, I-F-R-A-J, S-U-A-D. Also Neka, N-N-E-K-A, O-Tim, O-T-I-M. Shout out to Neka. I just talked with her the other day. Beautiful sister. Going to be meeting with her sometime in June. You all will also get to meet her on the channel. She is a wonderful, wonderful soul. Love her. Anyway, so between Ifraj and Suad, they have both maintained my hair over time, but Ifraj has been my primary loctician. So I had my install. It was $750. I do remember paying that. When I paid the $750, I don't remember feeling like, oh my gosh. However, when my friend Serena had hers installed and I was new to this whole thing and she paid $800, I believe. I remember thinking, who's paying that for tiny plaits? I remember thinking, ugh. And then after meeting more people with Sisterlocks at my business, and then considering how I was going to transition from this natural hairstyle that I had, which were twists, which started because all of my hair fell out. I was mortified. I was traumatized. I realized I needed something that was going to be low maintenance. So by the time I had the install, I was ready to jump all in. I would have paid anything, to be honest, at that time. So it was definitely worth it. Now, you've heard me say on this channel again and again and again, I would pay just about anything currently to have my locks installed if I knew then what I know now, which is that it's an investment in yourself. It's an act of self-love. It's definitely worth it. Now, today we happen to be talking about Sisterlocks because I started with Sisterlocks. You all already know that. It's only been a month or so since I'm not technically going to be continuing this journey with Sisterlocks, but we'll continue to be talking about Sisterlocks because that's the history. And that's what's brought me to this point. So anyway, with Sisterlocks, I'm confining the conversation to this, but I feel like in many marketplaces, there's not going to be that much of a difference with regard to price with Sisterlocks and Microlocks and anything else you may do. However, there are some differences in the installation and some other things which make people more attracted to Sisterlocks. And because they tend to be smaller than your average size Microlock, or consistent in the smaller sizes, or consistent in the sizing overall throughout the head, whether you have different sizes in different places or not, right now it's still a little cheaper to have the Microlocks. But bear in mind, you have many locticians now that are charging a rate that would be the same as a per hour rate, even though it's not being marketed that way. Meaning, I've had someone recently tell me that they were quoted $3,000, yes, for the install, and then $150 for each additional inch over 3 inches. Whoa. $3,000 for the install, and then $150 for each inch, versus many of you are getting $2,000, between $2,000 and $2,300 for an install, and an additional $50, $75, or $100 per inch. Some of you are still at the $1,000 break-in point for the first 4 inches. So there's a huge, far and wide range, which is why we're having this discussion today. Again, put it in the comments now. Take the time to give back to the channel and to alert the other sisters who are either shopping for an install, shopping for a new loctician, or kind of trying to decide whether or not they want to take the plunge. How much are you paying? How long have you had your locks? Meaning, how much did you pay? How long have you had your locks? What are you paying now? Meaning, what are you paying for your installs? And knowing what you know now, what would you be willing to pay? That's 4 questions. What would you be willing to pay? What are you paying now? How long have you had your locks? And what did you pay when you had them installed? And when you give me the what did you pay when you had them installed, please let me know what the base price was and how much you paid for each additional inch. 3 inches, y'all, is this. Okay, remember, an inch is about what every line on your finger is. This is about this much hair, and then you're paying $150 for each additional hair. Now, as much as I talk about Sisterlocks being invaluable and being worth just about any investment, I today cannot justify paying $3,000. I can justify paying $2,000 within reason. And remember, I always tell you, don't look at it as one payment. Plan your work and work your plan. Save your money up over time, the same way you pay your cell phone bill each month, or you pay, I don't know why you might be paying for cable with all the options that we have, but let's say you're paying for cable, or you're paying your electric bill each month. Put something to the side, because a lot of times the money that we throw away, whether it's getting a Starbucks coffee each day, or going to TJ Maxx and buying a camisole or a tank top every month, or whatever it may be, that money adds up. Okay, and if you can't save a quarter, you ain't gonna be able to save $1. And if you can't save $1, you will never be able to save 10. So how and what you're doing with your money is very important when you're looking at how you want to invest it. And for me, Sisterlocks, Microlocks are an investment for the long term. Now let me give you some caveats, however. Knowing what I know today, I wouldn't pay what some of these prices are simply because there are too many red flags and warning signs with so many of these locticians. And the queries that you put into whether or not a particular loctician is the best person for you, it's going to take a heck of a lot more footwork than it did in the past. Now, also, I want you to keep in mind that many locticians now are going strictly to installations. If you figure someone's charging $3 grand for an install, they better have an impeccable reputation, and that reputation better be justified by you having access to being able to call on various people that have been past clients, to you being able to not just see pictures. Pictures aren't going to cut it anymore because everybody, we live in a huge conglomeration of social media enterprises where people are faking the funk with just about everything. So you can't go on that. You need testimonials, you need to talk to actual people, you need references. $3,000 is a huge investment. And there have been so many of you in the comments and on the channel that have come to me and said, you're on your third install. So imagine being on your third install, or getting your locks installed for $2,000, $3,000, and then being dissatisfied for something, or realize you have a loctician who's in a funk, or she wasn't the right person for you, and now you're trying to figure out what to do, or you stop 3/4 of the way through the install because you have concerns. Someone is not tightening your locks or locking them all the way to the end. There is a litany of issues that you can run into, and if you haven't noticed, we don't have the same conscientiousness that we used to have 10, 20, 30 years ago. A lot of people are in this profession for the money. You have to have a passion for what you're doing, and then you can charge the money. If you have a passion for what you're doing, and you have a value for your client, and you're invested in the longevity and the health of their hair care journey, and you know what you are doing, and you're conscionable, you have a conscience, there's a higher power that guides everything that you do, that's the type of person that you want. But how many people are in that? And also, as Neka and Efraj have said, both my locticians are master cosmetologists too as well. But their philosophies about loving hair. For example, Neka loves hair. She's very much into it. Part of her process is making sure that you are happy. Part of her process is looking into researching innovative ways to keep hair healthy. That kind of stuff is really important. That's not something you take lightly. That is a service and a value that is worth paying for. But when you talk about $3,000 or $2,800, $2,500 for an installation with someone who's been doing this for a year or two, they don't have anything under their belt. They haven't invested in this industry, meaning they went and took a class, or they have a salon that they own, but their motives for owning the salon is to have other stylists working for them and to pocket the money, and they have not been doing this for some time. They don't have an array of experiences in other areas. You need to be careful. You've also heard me say a lot of times trainees will be your best choice. A lot of times people who have not been doing this very long but love the hair care journey, they're always on the leading edge of furthering their education. They've always had a love for hair that they can talk to you about. I'm not a loctician, but I've been doing hair since the 1st grade. I did hair for other people and got paid all throughout high school and college. Worked in my aunt's shop, who was a cosmetologist in Philadelphia, Lola's Looking Glass. Shout out to Lola's Looking Glass. My aunt is in her late 70s now. I believe she closed that shop down maybe not even 3 years ago. But I've always had a love for hair. My grandmother was a cosmetologist for many years. She was continuing to do hair in her shop in the basement of her home until her early 80s. So hair has always been in my DNA.
But you want to know, what's the hair care story? Can they tell you what inspired the hair care journey? It's important to start asking the questions that get at the character, the zest, the passion, and the purpose of the person that you are going to put your hair care destiny in. Do not think that this is a choice that you can make overnight. Sometimes I've read my comments, and some of you make the choice because someone is closer. Some of you make the choice because they're charging a price that you can deal with. You can't go by that. You've got to go by who is this individual, and you have to use your spiritual discernment as you hand pick these individuals. What are you paying for your hair? When did you get it installed? What are you paying currently for your retightnings? And how much would you be willing to pay based on what you know? Now, I paid $750. I would pay $1,000 a day for an install. I would pay probably $2,000. I might be willing to go a little bit over that if I knew after the first year I was going to take over my own hair. Or after the first year, I had a particular plan for what I was going to do, but I needed to be sure that the person that was going to be doing my installs knew what they were doing. So your circumstances can be different depending upon what your goals are, what your level of experience is for hair. If you know, for example, you have no intentions of doing your own reties, you've never put your hands in your hair, you're afraid to put your hands in your hair, you would be afraid of, if you had a lock, to slip out of retightening it your own self. You have to wait till you get to the consultant in order to do it, and you got all of these things like that. Then you're someone who needs to do your additional due diligence. I'm the type of person, when I had Locs to bunch and Locs to do different things, I figured out things myself. I went back. I don't think there was ever one lock that Efraj ever had to repair in my entire head. I believe that anything that needed to be repaired, and what needed to be repaired was subjective, because I didn't like the way it looked. So to me, I got to do something about this. So I went in. Sometimes I took it all the way out up until where it was bulging. Okay, and then I would start at the bottom and I would interlock it back up with my hands the same way I saw her do. Okay, I'm sitting in that chair all the time. I'm able to see what is going on. Other times, I would, depending upon where it started, I would start from the bottom up. But no matter how I started, if I started from the bottom up, the top up, I always monitored the lock to see how it was locking. Was it bunching in this area? Was it bunching in that area? Did I need to leave more space in between where it had locked and where I was coming up from the bottom, going up that hole? When I was using my needle, the arts and craft needle, to close that hole. But at the end of the day, my locks look the same. So a lot of the fears that I was giving about experimenting with my hair and something not turning out a certain way, those fears were unfounded. And that's why you have to get out of the box. You got to look at the fact that our hair will naturally lock irregardless. Period. As long as you're not letting a whole lot of hair just hang out, whether it's at the tips or it's somewhere else, and it's just going to knot up and lock up on its own, and not be forced into a particular pattern or have a similar design of the rest of your locks. You can do anything you want to do with your hair. Whether or not you let somebody tell you don't have Sisterlocks, that's on you. That's something else. I could sit here and say I'm going to knotted locks. I've started knotted locks. I still have Sisterlocks. That's my business. I wouldn't care what Miss Cornwell said or anybody else said. If I decide to say I still have Sisterlocks, that's my reality. I still have Sisterlocks. I don't care about a part size or some other nonsense. If I decided I wanted to say, okay, once I'm done and once I've surpassed the 13-year mark with knotted locks, then I'll go ahead and take on knotted locks, because I've had knotted locks longer for Sisterlocks. If I decide to say the first 2 inches of my hair are knotted locks, the rest are Sisterlocks, that's my business. I don't care what anybody else says. I talk about self-validation in my book, Manifesting Your Masterpiece. You have to self-validate. You have to know what's right for you, and you cannot go outside of yourself and turn over your power to external resources, externalize your power to define your world. So that's me. So when it comes down to what it is you're willing to pay for your locks, you've got to decide, what type of person am I? Am I someone who's willing to invest a couple of $1,000, maybe even $3, because I know that this person does an immaculate job. They do a wonderful practice, they are conscionable, they love what they do, they have a certain level of experience under their belt, they have a salon, which shows me that they've invested in themselves, they have a portfolio that has not only the first clients that they were doing, but some of the more recent clients. I can see some of what they've done in the form of testimonials on their Instagram or their YouTube channel. Whatever it is, you need to know. They have locks themselves for sure. If I'm going to pay $3,000, I'm going to need to see that you have locks. I'm sorry. I need to see your own Sister Locks. I need to see your process. I need to understand it. I need you to be comfortable with me asking you 15 to 20 questions at the initial consult if I have them. I need to feel good about how you respond. I also realistically need to know how much you are charging for your retightenings. If the person that you go to that you spend $3,000 for is charging you $200 to $300 a month for your reties, that's something you're going to have to think about. If I'm charging $3,000 for my install, I, from a strategist point of view, may be charging that because of the initial investment and my desire to want to keep my clients with me, because I know that I'm a badass and I know that my locks are popping or my process is popping, and I'm going to be charging $100 for each retightening, or $150, which I can guarantee I'm not going to raise the price on you in the first 5 years, but I know I've got your $3,000, you're in it to win it, and now I can charge you $125 for each retightening. Different story. So you have to decide what that looks like. Do you feel in your heart that it's too much? What is the market bearing? You're going to pay something different in California and New York than what you might pay in, I'm not even going to use Texas, because some of what you all are telling me in Texas is insane as well, than what you might pay in South Georgia. But this is a real issue or concern that we're dealing with. How much longer can you keep up with these high prices? Shout out to Latanya, who recently put out $400 for a retightening. Another sister I talked to, $300 for a retightening. Y'all, if you're doing reties every 6 to 8 weeks, which the majority of you are, and you're paying that kind of money, it's only going to get worse. That's a serious piece. When I spoke with one of my locticians, I was told that her charge is based on the fact that it's an investment, and it's like charging for the install, not based on an hourly rate. Because if you think about it, if it's taking somebody 30 hours to do an install and they're charging $100 an hour, that's how you're getting to $3,000. But then you got to say, well, I'm doing an install. Do I really want to charge $100 an hour? Does that feel right? Does that feel conscionable within me? It's important that you understand how, or you get some insight into how that price was arrived at. Now, can you ask that of every loctician without them getting upset? No. But what you can say is, sister, oftentimes the price can embody a certain level of value and expertise. Because the market price is typically around $1,200 or $2,500, how do you feel your price differentiates you from what the market is currently bearing? That's a very embellished way of saying, how are you justifying your price? And in that question, that person can help you to understand why they are charging that price, because there could be something in their language that helps you understand that. Remember, when you pray and you ask for guidance, that guidance always comes and you're always pointed in the right direction. Maybe there's a word that person uses that resonates with something you heard earlier that day after asking for guidance. These are signs. So it's important that you get them to dialogue, that you get them to talk with you at length, and that you just don't see the consult as them talking to you and it's one way. It needs to be bi-directional conversation. And you need to also have the understanding that if the bar for the price is too high, it does not mean that you cannot get Sister Locks installed. It just means you have to plan your work and work your plan. It's time to start putting a little bit of money aside. It's time to start deciding, how much is this worth it to me? It's time to do greater research and understand, what is it going to take for me to enjoy this journey? What are some of the mitigating factors that will take me out of the game within a year, and I'll be wanting to get my locks uninstalled or taken down or cut off, and what is going to help me to have longevity in this race. And you all know I talk about longevity in this style, that it's an at-risk hairstyle, that you need to be fully informed and that you need to know what you are doing so that it becomes less at risk and more as a style that you can have over the long term and one that you can definitely enjoy. These are very, very important things that we're talking about here. How much did you pay for your install? And when did you have your install? How much are you paying now for your retightenings? And what would you be willing to pay today based on what you know? Now, if you paid $1,500 for your install and you wouldn't be willing to pay that much or more today because of some of the drama that you've had, please share that on the channel. But when you have paid, say like me, $750, and I'd be willing to pay around $2,000 today for an install under certain conditions, and maybe a little bit more under certain conditions, then I'm assuming, or you would assume by hearing me say that I think it's worth it. So make sure you clarify in the comments the why. The why would you be willing to pay more, or the why are you not willing to pay more? This is a topic that I think we all are going to be digging into more as time goes on. So I want you to really show up in the comments and let me know. Also, let me know if you feel like it. Are you doing your own self-retires? Because the interesting thing is, where you starting your journey and your Sisterlocks, Microlocks journey is different than where you're going to be 3 years from now. Many of you think of an install and you can't even bear the thought of having to do your own retightenings. So for you, maybe a compromise is best in that you say, okay, I'll go to my retightening sessions for the first year, and then eventually I'll transition over to doing it myself. You could be someone that says, I've never done my own hair. I don't want to do my own hair. This is a no for me. I know that I'm going to have to find a reliable optician. Maybe I need to have a backup or 2 backups in the event that something doesn't work out. You could be someone that says, oh heck, I've had my hands in my hair all the time. I watch YouTube videos all the time. I watch do-it-yourselfers. I'm not in the box. I'm not going to run down anybody like I'm from the Sisterlocks Mafia or something like that. And once this person puts them in, I can certainly maintain them. So you've got to determine where you are on that continuum with regard to price, so that you understand what you're getting into long term, in addition to what you might be paying for the install. For those of you who are still doing retightenings anywhere from $500 to $1,500, please, for those people and those of you who are going to locticians who are charging you that, do not be dismayed if you're charging that, because I've seen people say, oh, is that what it's going for now? I need to raise my prices. No, you don't get to raise your prices because that's what it's going for now. You get to raise your prices when you can add extra value. There are many of you who are still charging $500 to $1,500 and maybe a little above, and you're doing excellent work. And your prices are something that you are comfortable with, and your prices are something that you feel your clients are comfortable with, and they feel conscionable to you. That's a beautiful thing. So just because someone may have a lower price, don't let that give you the idea that they're any less valuable or less of an expert. You with Tanisha Ali of Butterfly Transformations, which is my other channel. Please come check me out over there for your life guidance. Spirituality is everything. Everything is spiritual. And Tanisha's Locks, Beauty Tips, and Potpourri. If you haven't purchased my book, Manifesting Your Masterpiece, you can get it on Amazon. For those of you who are interested in the Magical Hair Growth Serum, the Premium Hair Care Blend, and the Fearless Follicles and Root Revitalizer, you can find that at IamMelaninMagic.com, along with our Unsi and Bahor and our fragrance bombs and so many other things that we're bringing to the marketplace. Love you all. I appreciate you. Again, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, like it, share, and subscribe. Bye.
Hey ladies, do you love the way your skin looks and feels? I know I do, because I am using the I Am Melanin Magic Anti-Aging Serum. And at 50, I love the way my skin looks and feels. This blend is bomb. It renews, revitalizes, rejuvenates, soothes, conditions, moisturizes, tones, brightens, and fades, all in one step. So if you're ready to get your glow on, go get you some I Am Melanin Magic Anti-Aging Serum.
If you struggle with acne during your youth or even as an adult, it's time to give I Am Melanin Magic Acne Serum a try. Unlike other harsh products that dry out your skin, our oils balance and purify, helping to heal inflammation. All natural and formulated to meet the requirements of melanated skin. You'll see results in no time. Don't delay. Order yours today.
Do you have dark spots from skin irritation? How about unsightly marks from acne that's lasted way too long? Fade Magic can help you find your way back to radiance over time. Don't delay, order yours today.
If you are not using Melanin Magic Hair Oil, then what are you using?
Hi, I'm the creator of the I Am Melanin Magic Skin and Hair Care brand. The I Am Melanin Magic Hair Oil is our premium product. It is the leading high-end supplement for your mane.
It reduces breakage and promotes growth and can be used on all hair types and looks, from straightened hair and microlocks to wigs and protective styles.
It's antifungal, antibacterial, and it's anti-funk, so you know you're protected.
It softens and conditions your hair, and it's anti-frizz too.
Hey guys, so I started using this oil called I Am Melanin Magic since February of this year, and check out the new growth. Like, it's insane. Not only did it help with my new growth, but it smells amazing too.
See the dramatic improvements Denisha has made after not having hair around her edges for 3 years.
Tanya's hair had been like this for almost 20 years, and while getting injections. Her doctor said it was scarred and would never grow back. After 4 weeks of using I Am Melanin Magic, this is what she looked like. I Am Melanin Magic did this to Danette's hair after a short time.
This is really all your hair needs. It's rich with antioxidants, loaded with growth-promoting ingredients. Look at the growth of my hair. It's amazing. The product speaks for itself. Order yours today and don't delay. Don't delay. Purchase yours today.
I Am Melanin Magic, and so are you.